Welcome back, everybody, to the Shield Against Midnight, a Call of Cthulhu game set in 1969, and I forgot to change the title on Tinker Tabletop. I knew I was forgetting something. Hang on, let me go do that real quick.
Technical difficulties.
All right, while I do that, welcome back to the Shield Against Midnight, Call of Cthulhu, 7th edition. Welcome back to the Shield Against Midnight, 7th edition Call of Cthulhu game set in 1969.
Do you want me to just cut the stream and try that again?
No, it's fine.
Do-over.
Just figures. I knew I was forgetting something, and it was literally because I had the Tinker Tabletop thing set up. It was right in front of my face. Still couldn't figure out. What's wrong with this picture? Do 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 do. All right. Midnight Season 3, Episode 4. Yeah, 4. When last we left our intrepid group of fuck-ups and miscreants, they were having a nice, pleasant meal at the Pachetti's family restaurant. After slaying the terrifying Shadow Oil Man meat walker thing in the woods, they came back and began discussing their plans for establishing a safe house in New York for the mysterious Delta Green organization, including enlisting the help of the somewhat unscrupulous but honest businessman, Emilio Vincini. They settled in, had a fine meal, and started cleaning their wounds when, after a request for painkillers, some strange drugs were released into the group, forcing themselves upon Anderson, causing her to hallucinate strange visions and experience an increase in her perception. And that's more or less where we left off, unless I'm forgetting something else, which I wouldn't put past me. My brain is apparently scrambled eggs tonight.
I have a note that says there's a tourniquet on my arm, so we need to get that off before before Anderson loses her arm.
Oh yeah, roll for losing your arm.
Oh, I
Win
forgot
isn't bad
that.
with an axe. You can probably take it off.
Yeah.
So at this point, she's.
Oh no.
Her arm pops off and begins crawling across the floor, screaming, "What a world, what a world!"
And I think to myself,
Gwen needs more beer.
Roses too.
Gwen needs more beer, please.
But this whole time, you fucked that up. But you got the "What a Wonderful World." There you go. Anyways,
here I'll do a wonderful day roll. I did not have to use my AK. It was a good day.
There you go. All right. In the wake of what had just transpired, most of the rest of the people in the restaurant are kind of having taken a step back to give the vet and Parvana her space as she took a blood sample from the drugged Anderson. Vincent has retreated to the kitchen doorway where Mrs. I'm gonna fuck this up now. I said it earlier. Pachetti. I said it perfectly earlier. Mrs. Pachetti is standing in the doorway looking into the room, confusion across both of their features. Ranger Manson has basically toppled over his chair and is standing at ready, his hand on the pistol tucked into his waistband. And Lukowski is laid out on the floor, having similarly toppled over his chair, but not reacting in quite the same practiced and skilled manner. He's trying to currently unhook his shoe from one of the legs it's gotten wrapped around. You have a blood sample, Parvana. Anderson, you're drugged as hell. you can still hear and feel everything going on throughout the room. You can hear your companions' heightened heartbeats, with a couple of exceptions of those more headed among you. You can hear the veal as it gurgles in Rocket's stomach and begins to dissolve. And it's just an overwhelming amount of sensory information for you.
Anderson would probably
Information for
immediately
you.
start to yell. And as soon as the sound leaves her throat, it's going to sound really, really loud in your ears, and she's going to cut herself off. But she's going to walk over to Lukowski. She's going to grab him by the collar and just quietly whisper to him, "What the fuck is this shit?"
Not to. Sorry about this. When we last left our group, you were being held by Emilio.
Yes,
Because
you
he
were.
was yelling, "Spaghetti doesn't do this to people."
Thanks. Sorry, I completely forgot where the hell we are. So the screaming is still going to be a thing. She's still going to cut herself off, but she's going to quietly say from across the room, "What the fuck is this shit?"
And as a reminder, there is now a clear glass bottle sitting on the table that is being tipped one way then the other by a very aggravated little beast inside that seems to be made of a mobile black fluid. But as Anderson starts to shriek and then cuts herself off, the pistol is slipped out of Ranger Manson's waistband. He goes over and actually is going to point it towards Lukowski. "What is that?" he demands, louder than Anderson.
Shh, dude, not so loud.
Manson kind of glances at her, confusion working its way across his brow, while Lukowski just stammers from the floor. I don't know. I got it. I told you exactly where I got it. It was a bum deal. I thought it was empty. It was empty every time I went for it.
What the fuck is it supposed to do?
It was the guy who gave it to me said it was like the new acid. It was supposed to make you see whole new worlds, is what he said.
I'm certainly seeing something here, but not
As
new
a matter of
worlds.
fact, you can actually see the individual fibers in his tacky suit. It's a sort of a crappy polyester blend that looks a lot more expensive than it actually is. And you can definitely pick apart how little he spent on this while trying to appear like he spent a lot.
Anderson is going to be just, well, she can't really throw up her hands since Emilio's still got her arms on or his arms on her, but she's going to be like, can you let me go here? Just, I think I'm all right, but
Last time you got a little wound up there, you did end up shooting people. So if you don't mind, we're just gonna sit here and take a few moments and relax. All right?
well, I wouldn't fucking mind shooting him.
That's one of the reasons I'm still holding on to you.
Give
No,
him a
that's not going
buggered
to
look.
solve anything, Manson says as he kind of glances around the room. Parvana, do you still have those handcuffs?
I'm all right. Come on.
Not for you, for him.
She
What do you
looks-
mean for me?
She held on to them,
Gwen's just chuckling behind her liquor.
and she'll throw them to Manson.
If y'all need a new dealer, I might know a few. Very reliable. None of this
I don't think
experimental
we need
shit.
more of this shit.
And she is going to remove the tourniquet, being like, "Well, as of now, it doesn't seem like there's any infection spreading or anything like that. And you seem lucid."
As you're loosening the tourniquet, Manson goes ahead and takes advantage of the fact that Lukowski's still got his foot kind of wrapped up in the leg of his chair, and he's goes ahead and cuffs both his hands while Lukowski protests, not really saying anything. He keeps trying to form words, but it comes out as more of a gibbering stammer.
That fucking drug gave me some kind of vision. I don't really know how to describe it, but something saw me.
Something saw you?
Yeah, I don't know how to it was a something with a black mask on its face. Could it have anything to do with that fucking meat thing?
Well, it's not something we can rule out, Ranger Manson says as he kind of tucks the pistol back into his waist. Well, decocks the pistol, first of all. Safety first, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, you can tell when the
Decocks
game is
revolver.
run by gun nerds.
Decocks his revolver and tucks it into the waistband of his pants. Well, I wouldn't rule anything out in this situation. But I'm working blind here.
As she kind of mentions a man in a black mask, Emilio just kind of crosses himself, loosening his grip on Anderson just a little bit. And I'm gonna keep rolling this till I finally get a hit. Can I roll a Colt?
Yes, you may.
Nope.
Not today.
Not
Satan.
not this one.
He said he was coming.
Real quick. Is that in character or do you? Because he said, "There you are."
Fuck, I remembered wrong.
Yeah. So do you want to? But do you want to remember wrong in character, or would you like to change your answer since it's been a week? I can understand forgetting.
Change my answer here.
Okay, so you're gonna tell them that he said, "There you are."
It knows where we are.
Manson's gonna look to Parvana. That's not fucking good.
No.
Only good thing that fucking happened today was Rocket got to shit on a rock. I watched it. I know that it happened. That's the only good thing that's fucking happened today.
Food was good.
Was that nearby?
Food was good.
Food was good. Listen, Emilio, can you keep them under control? Emilio, Gwen, just keep them calm for a minute.
I
Parvana,
got holes in me.
I got this.
Alvar? Alvar, just make sure Lukowski doesn't break his leg trying to... What are you doing? What are you doing down there? And again, Lukowski just kind of stammers and kicks the chair impotently. Parvana, we need to have a talk.
Let's do that now. We've been putting this off too long.
And they're going to go ahead and step out into the alleyway to find that their cars are no longer there. The vehicles that you came with are gone. Replaced with... Actually, I'm going to leave this up to you, Jay. This is your 3 gold coin contact. What kind of cars would they have gotten for the party?
Well, they wouldn't be Cadillacs, but they would not
No.
be clunkers either. They'd probably be fairly nice cars, probably used. In fact, probably taken from a maybe not taken, quote unquote borrowed, because they probably know the person that owns the lot from a used car lot, but in good shape, freshly washed, those kind of things.
Okay. And there are,
Buick
of course,
LeSabres and those kind of things.
yeah, there are, of course, a couple of gentlemen loitering nearby. And they would kind of step up from the car as Parvana and Manson stepped outside and look expectantly at them, but a little bit confused when they don't recognize either of them. And Manson would kind of, since he was the first one to step out, would just sort of point inside and say, Emilio's in there if you want to talk to him. Yeah. Parvana, let's go a little bit down and we can just talk.
Yes.
You would basically walk the opposite way down the alleyway away from your cars until sort of Manson feels that you're far enough away that nobody's going to hear you. And for the record, nobody can make a listen check. This is out of human listening range,
Can I?
except for Anderson. You could make a listen check. You're not going to just be able to hear it.
I can hear everything.
You do hear
it through time.
Yep. You can actually hear this conversation as clearly as if it was happening right next to you. Manson kind of rubs his hands together and looks to Parvana. We can't eliminate we can't ignore the possibility that one or more of the teammates may be infected. And that's with the recent events, there's at least 2 people on that list that I think there's 2 people I would put towards the top of that list. However, thanks to the efforts of your good friend Chase, we actually do have a method that theoretically should be able to determine between monster and human.
Go on.
It's how to explain this. It's basically a lobotomy, but you don't stick the pin thing all the way in. You more or less just penetrate that membrane to give the illusion of a lobotomy, and if it's a separate being, it would protect itself. I don't have the documents on it here, about it here, but he did do a fairly detailed report specifically for me about it. But the whole trick of it is they can't know that you're not just lobotomizing them. It's meant to confuse the monster, make them think it has to defend itself.
So in theory, could any way of this work, or does it have to be this specific procedure?
This is the one that he came up with. I do think that there's, I think in theory, if the theory holds true, any sort of threat like that would probably cause the face monster to disengage, but it's not something we've tested. This is, I mean, your team is on the front line for this, and well, that's why I'm bringing it to you.
So, question before we even go into this. Right now we have had a monster breathing down our neck. We've had a very, very strange interaction with some sort of extra, something more than a pill.
Yeah.
When do we find the tools or time to do this?
Well, we've got a veterinarian's office right next door, and as far as I know, it's a relatively simple procedure. And this is something that you could recover from. This isn't a true lobotomy. It's oh
No,
God,
I
what's the
know,
word he
but
used?
it is still a unnecessary surgical procedure, and everything comes with risks.
But you're right. But I do think that we can't ignore the potential that either Anderson or Lukowski could have been infected. Both of them were at what seems to be the hotbed for spreading this in Germany, where it seems to have come from with the UWM's involvement. And both of them had potential to have firsthand contact with this shit. With the recent events and how they've been acting against the mission, I think this is something we need to prioritize. But they can't know it's coming. They think it's anything less than real, it won't work.
Could I make a pharmacy roll?
Yes, you can make a
Just-
pharmacy roll.
I want to think if knowing the amount of drugs that I know Lukowski is on, if just based on this theory that would have any effect.
I mean, what do you mean would have any effect?
Well, I mean, in theory, that would be. There might be a level of. Like. Because essentially, it's like a face replacing thing, right?
As far as you know.
Hmm. I'm just trying to think if. I'm just trying to think if she kind of just runs the thought of. She knows something about Lukowski's medical condition. If this lines up with what she knows about the creatures so far.
I mean, you mean his drug use?
Yes.
Really, you don't have anything to
Yeah,
compare it
I
to. Is going to
don't
be the
have any-
problem.
I don't have any notes. I was. Yeah, there's no data.
Yeah.
I was thinking something through there. Hmm.
Listen, I
No.
can. I'm sorry.
There's an entirely other question here. We are looking at what essentially comes to bringing blatant interference into the mission. This is it's immediately doesn't make a whole lot of sense to essentially inject a sleeper agent in here and then have them act before we even get into any workable intelligence, before we move anything worthwhile there. We've already seen that they have a more effective way of trying to hamstring us from the start.
You do have a point there.
I appreciate telling this. But until I see these documents, or at the very least talk to Chase about it, I will not be performing any unnecessary procedures on my people.
No, that makes perfect sense. And actually, as we're sitting here talking through it, forgive me for being a little bit space cadet. That's not a phrase in 1969. Forgive me for being a little foggy-headed, but there was a payphone couple a few hundred feet down from the Pachettis. You could call Chase. I mean, it'd probably be better you get it from him firsthand anyways.
Good point. I'll take care of this. I'll talk to him about it. I need to know more about this. This is what we're up against.
Yeah, absolutely. That's smart.
I'm surprised. Do you know when this research was done? I mean, was this something you intended to present to me before the incident in the woods?
I was intending to, as soon as I could, I would have liked to have grabbed you. And again, since they can't know it's coming, I wanted to grab you as soon as I could and have this conversation. It's just become kind of more pressing given recent events.
Fair.
Unfortunately, due to the necessity of having the conversation with Gwen, I couldn't just have you arrive. Although, I don't know. It's been a hell of a day.
They're going to keep coming.
Yeah,
Hells of days.
I'm sure it is.
I'm going to the payphone.
All right, I'm gonna go inside and make sure that nobody's tearing anybody's head off. So,
And she's gonna go to the payphone, and I'll swing the spotlight for a bit.
yeah, while she walks off to the payphone, y'all have been inside. Anderson, you heard every word of that.
Yep.
How do you feel?
Pretty much that. Just very blank, very confused, very panicked.
Hmm.
Mind's racing, arms are sweaty.
Miss Spaghetti.
Pachetti spaghetti.
You beat me to it. I couldn't unmute fast enough.
That's good job.
Yeah, knees weak, arms heavy.
Pachetti spaghetti.
I don't have much else to
Okay.
contribute right now at the moment.
Well,
Emilio would have let Anderson up when she seemed to have calmed down, probably when she was listening to the conversation, and kind of got up and dusted himself off, and he's kind of surrounded by injured people, drug addicts, and a handcuffed man, and he's just kind of shaking his head, wondering what in the world he's gotten himself into.
I mean, Alvar's there too. He's
Alvarez
totally
bolts in him
normal.
too, doesn't he?
No, he does not. He's got a
Oh, he
scratch
did?
on his
Oh,
face, and
okay.
that's it.
yep.
It's not even a wound.
Alvar's just trying to look big, but he's not very good at being intimidating, kind of being more of a teddy bear than a grizzly bear. So he's good. He's looking big, but not necessarily looking confident in his bigness.
He was looking very huggable.
Yep.
Once it got quiet, I have a feeling, as long as no one's trying to do anything too extreme, he'll probably go and poke his head in the kitchen and apologize to Vincent and Miss Spaghetti about the disturbance.
Oh, don't worry, hon. As far as some of our parties with the Vincinis have gone, this is not that bad.
Well, we wouldn't want a repeat of the 67th. That was a
No.
bad year. Bad year.
Mm-mm.
Y'all got new tablecloths, a new woodwork. That was good, right?
Yeah, the store's looking great now.
Get you a new sign. That'll look good.
Oh, that'd be sweet of you, Milo.
'Cause
I don't know
we'll
why
be
I'm
out of your
going
hair
so
pretty
southern
quickly
with
here.
this.
Amelia would go on back, and he's not so much like ready to pounce on Anderson as just really confused as to what's going on. And no one's really sharing any actual answers here, so eventually he'll probably sort of
Yeah.
take a seat and just kind of watch the pill bottle as it's trying to get away. Occasionally, like, use a fork to like push it a little further from the edge so it can't like wobble its way
Yeah.
off the edge of the table, kind of a thing, but not touching it with his bare hands.
Could we potentially put that back in the container it came in?
I'm not opening that cork.
It is in the container it came in, isn't it?
No,
in a
it's
glass
not.
vial.
Oh,
The container it came in is that stainless steel one that has
Yeah.
no label on it.
gotcha.
Anderson would eye the bottle nervously. I really don't think, it was fine when it first came out of that container, and now she'd point at the glass bottle. I don't really know, but I don't think it was doing that before.
Some kind of pill bug or something?
If we're being punny, then sure.
No, like the roly-polies, those things.
I don't think those things bite.
I don't think they do either.
We're not actually playing botanist with this, are we? Like, we come on, we all know that it's not a real type of fucking bug. Look at that shit.
Anderson would look at her finger that was pricked and just kind of frown. Yeah.
Some kind of something, isn't it?
Yeah, he doesn't know with the
No,
roll
he's
like
not.
that. It's some kind of something indeed.
But I mean, look at it. It's like it's got legs. It's articulated. I mean, maybe it has spines or something. Maybe it was a defensive thing.
Oh god. Oh god, he's new here. Oh god. She just keeps drinking.
As you kind of are sitting there admiring it, the bug stops rocking against the glass, attempting to knock itself over, having been thwarted by the subtle presses of a fork. And it actually manages to climb all the way up the top of the glass bottle and begins pushing against the cork that's been sealed on top of it.
Anderson
Very
puts her hand on top of the cork.
well, that thwarts that almost immediately, but it does slightly lift the cork before immediately being thwarted by Anderson's hand.
I can do something about that. After when she kind of pushes down on it, Emilio kind of reaches and grabs it, and he dips the end of the bottle into the melted wax of the candle on the table.
That is a really good idea, and I was actually going to suggest covering in tape, so wax is even better.
That's very good. That's very smart. Somebody actually needs to like add this to their inventory. Wax sealed Satan bug or something.
Not it.
I don't want
I've
to.
already got the dagger.
And
you've already got-
Anderson will take it.
Okay.
I
So
will
you-
put wax sealed Satan bug.
Nah, I call it a wax sealed pill bug. That was a good pun.
I hate this. Gwen is just so out of fucks to give that she was genuinely laughing at that.
After sealing the pill bug in wax, a man that none of you would recognize except for Emilio pokes his head in through the door and just kind of says, "We got the cars."
It takes Emilio a second because he's kind of making sure the wax is hardening on the bottle before he stands up. And who is that?
That's Roger.
Roger?
Yeah.
Roger who?
Oh, come on, Milo. You know me.
Milo kind of comes closer to him and kind of looks, "Oh, yeah, I know you." And he comes up for him and pinches his cheek. You get the cars?
Yeah, we already took the ones you left here. They're off getting cleaned. We got you these two from Freddy's used dealership. We're borrowing them, but these will do you for now.
Yeah, I don't need them that long. They got fresh plates?
Absolutely.
Should be good. Then we need to get out of here. We've imposed on the Pagettis too long.
You don't want to
Be a
get
good
pulled
one.
over though. No paperwork in the dash.
I don't think it'll be too much trouble.
I'm just letting you know. Anyways, we're
This
gonna
is
take
New
off
York.
then.
We know where to squeeze. It's not too bad.
Mm-hmm. You have a good one, Milo. Keep your nose clean.
I'll keep it out of the spaghetti.
Anderson would snort.
Roger and his unimportant friend go ahead and head off.
Oh, he got NPC'd hard.
Yup.
Roger and his rather forgettable acquaintance.
Exactly.
Jimothy.
Billy Bob Baggins.
No, those guys were memorable.
Go on an adventure.
Anyways, Parvana, you're able to find the payphone easy enough. And because I'm an asshole GM, roll for luck to see if you have pocket change. No, that's a joke. Don't. You've got pocket change. That would be the biggest dick move.
I mean, worst case scenario, you'd have to come back inside the restaurant to make the call.
Yeah.
You've received a collect call from Satans are bothering me, Chase.
Jesus.
Yes, I will accept the charges.
Can that be canon?
From 1-800-HELP.
I mean, if that's how you want to call him, Parvana, go
No,
right
that's probably the least secure way to do it.
It probably is, but it'd be funny.
Hey, it's me, Parvana, from Delta Green, and yeah, we've got this unidentified flying bug in a jar. Please send help.
Meanwhile, she's just gabbing with people on the street. Yeah, hey, how you doing? You doing good? Yeah,
Hope
Satan
you didn't run
bugs.
into any Satans tonight.
Everybody just takes it in stride because it's the typical homeless people in New York.
No, it's just normal New Yorkers. They're just used to that.
All right, she calls Chase.
The phone would probably ring, like there'd be 1, 2, and 3 rings, and there'd be a pause, and there'd be a beep, and then there'd be another ring, and with that, you'd hear hello.
Hello, Chase.
Marvana,
Yes,
how are you?
I'm well.
Good, that's good. What have you been up to?
Oh, this and that. Seeing new and exciting venues. Being chased by new and exciting things.
Ah, I see. Well, I assume this is a business call then.
Unfortunately, yes.
What can I help you with?
I've been informed that you've been working on a procedure.
Several, actually, but I'm assuming you're talking about dealing with our friends from Vietnam.
Yes.
Yes, it's less of a procedure. Procedure would be much more in your wheelhouse. This is more of a articulated or potentially non-ethical bluff. Does that count?
It's closer to one end of procedure than not a procedure.
It's effectively an electrostimulated transorbital lobotomy, but you don't finish it. The purpose is to quite literally cause enough traumatic effect to force a response.
Without burning up the mind.
Of course. You obviously don't want to damage actually non-infected personnel. The result requires in 24-48 hours of rest and recuperation, but no permanent damage. You can do it with, well, I've produced my own tools, but you could produce your own, or at least a reasonable facsimile, most places if you have access to a hardware store or a clinic of some sort.
Tell me, what's the theory behind it?
The theory behind it is the same thing we encountered in Vietnam. You provide enough of a threat of death or loss of self, and they will defend themselves, such as we just encountered when we dealt with those people stuck in the chair.
And this is a bit more controlled than
This is much more
burning a
controlled and
building.
well, burning people, yes. And in this case, if they do turn out to be safe, you don't end up with losing personnel, potentially, much less risk. Transorbital lobotomies, though I will consider unethical, cruel, and unnecessary, are surprisingly safe.
Interjection. I don't think in the 1960s they were considered unethical yet.
Actually, in the 50s they were.
Yeah.
They were actually banned in the Soviet Union, believe it or not, before that.
Oh, I did carry on. Sorry.
Carry on.
Anyway, the devices I have are effectively just modified trocars with some electrical devices that create spark gap stimulated effects. They are suitably... Oh, what's a good way to describe it? Suitably high-tech looking, but otherwise provide no actual testing or machinery. The more machines you can have showing readings or outputs connected to the tool, generally the better result we've found. On the 30-plus tests we've run, it's been surprisingly effective, but it is, in the end, smoke and mirrors. You cannot let the potential patients interact with patients that have undergone such a procedure. Or more
So
accurately, you cannot let them know that it doesn't do what you say it does.
So you effectively have one go at it.
Via this method, yes. Of course, you attempt to use all existing processes beforehand. Interviews, drug therapy. I hear CAT scans might be a way, but we can't quite get our hands on one. They're very expensive. X-rays seem to be ineffective.
Drug therapy.
Don't know. We would need a lot larger test subject, and unfortunately we've not been able to find that many infected personnel.
But this has been tested?
There's kind of a pause. Yes, multiple times.
Good.
I can confirm that my staff is either very effective undercover or very much so safe.
Any particular
Sorry, go ahead.
with the test subjects? Any data leading up to it that would have pushed you towards this? Tells.
No, we've just quite literally started a blind test. It's far more effective if it's sudden. Gives them less time to think about it, certainly. You don't want a potentially actually infested personnel leaving with what information they might have. You want to obviously separate them as quickly as possible so that if they are infected, they can't potentially escape or warn others. Black bagging has proven to be quite effective. I'm not saying it's a good thing to do, but we do need to find some way to... Well, we need to know who we can trust.
I agree. I'm just not sure while we're currently out on field work is the proper time to do it.
Well, the procedure is relatively simple, and since you're not actually going through with the full lobotomy, recovery times have been significantly reduced. On top of that, with sterile tools, you have very, very low chance of infection. For example, as you already know, these processes are effectively performed in little more than dentist chairs in asylums.
Unfortunately, yes.
So I leave it to you. Do you have someone we need to pick up and examine?
No, not yet.
It's a bit of a stretch, but if you could get your hands on an ice pick, an old soldering iron, and some electrical tools, and someone who knows how to work with some wires, you might be able to recreate the device locally. You just need to disconnect the circuit going from the plug into the actual heating element for the soldering iron, cut off a length of a ice pick tip, and then create a spark gap between the 2 points. Should create a suitably loud enough pop that when electrocuted you'll have a continuing arcing effect without doing additional damage to the patient. It's crude, but it would produce this effective psychological reaction.
Understood.
How are you doing, though?
She pauses and thinks. Well, I didn't expect to be doing fake surgeries on anybody anytime soon.
Neither did I. In fact, I expected to be killed on sight when they came back to my door. Now I have an office. Pretty big one, actually. Tile's a little unsettling, though. We're in a research lab. It's very sterile here. Not really my environment.
Research.
They say
Tell me.
research. It's
What?
torture.
Oh.
It's not what I got in to do. I can't say I enjoy it, but I do understand the significance and the requirements of it. They say I'll be able to get maybe out in the field. Maybe start training people. But right now I'm kind of in a dark little hidey hole, poking people in the eye to find out if they're infected with alien creatures. Not exactly what I expected to be doing this part of my life either.
No. But tell me, if I sent you samples with some level of information with it, do you have an actual effective team to do research, or is it just
Oh no, we got
cover?
doctors up the wazoo, people multiple doctorates, smartest people I've ever met. I feel really out of place. They put me in charge of a whole team, and mostly I'm there to scare people.
How was it that I ended up out here and you in there?
I walked away from Hutchinson, and you stayed. You could have come with me. We could be jabbing people in the eye together. He kind of laughs in a sort of nervous, like, well, that was a dumb line to make.
Well, I suppose now we're just doing the jabs, distant under the same night sky.
Wow.
Oh my god, just kiss already!
Well, no, yeah, if you can send me that blood, I can certainly get it tested, or at least as much testing as we can do here. We've got pretty much one of everything.
I have a feeling. And this is. I feel like with the handler and telling him about this procedure, he may be seeing. He may be seeing infections as the only possible threat. I have a feeling we're going to be exposed to so much more.
Well, when all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. I think you're right. Manson's a good guy. But yeah, I can certainly see if he started to lose his cool. He's a damn sight step up from Hutchinson, though.
Oh, 100%, but it's not been a good first day on the job.
Guess not. Not if you're calling me. Can I send you anything? Anything you need out there?
Not until I have a secure location to put it. Unless. Well, unless you want to start sending packages to Italian restaurants.
Y'all are based out of an Italian restaurant? Do they have any of those big potato things? What are those things called? Anderson's gotta love those, right?
Oh, well, look, she already was going for the gnocchi.
Ah, that's what they're called. Yeah, I can never keep Italian words straight.
Ah, yes.
Russian was hard enough for me.
Like, I'm going to find the best possible way to send things to you.
Yeah, sure. We have
And-
a PO box that's secure that you can send things to. Locus, where roughly would this be? Obviously not precisely, but
This you'd be sending a oh god. I'm gonna shoot you a message real quick because
Okay.
my brain just died, but
that would be Nevada.
okay, then you're gonna be sending it basically to Nevada. Actually, you'd be sending it to Las Vegas.
That's what I assume. So yeah, basically he would relay that they have a secure PO box in Las Vegas.
Oh, so about at this time, geez, that would still have some turnaround on it. I mean, we probably
Well, the company would pay for.
yeah. there would be
And you would definitely be able to overnight it, especially since it's a blood sample. You could just mark it as such.
yeah.
Would we have a lab somewhere that would be secure enough to send it to? In New York?
Not in New York, no.
Not yet, because you're still. That's right.
Not yet.
They're setting it up.
It's
Okay.
still being. Yep. Y'all are the ones
Yeah.
setting that up.
Yeah, I'm sorry, it's a bit of a trip, but you all are the ones technically in charge of setting that location up right now.
Oh yes, I know.
Well, stay safe, Parvana. Well, as soon as you get that, I'll try to get a message back to you. You might want to call me when you have a more permanent location.
Mhm.
It's gonna be hard to send you mail, honestly.
This is true.
How's the team holding up?
I'll tell you in the morning.
Ah, I understand. Alright, well, stay safe, girl.
You too. It's hard on the head what you're doing.
It's not so bad. Hours are nice. We don't test that many people yet. We're really kind of on the low rate, higher up kind of a thing. It is somewhat amusing being able to do this to some rather high level shadowy people, but I'm not imagining it's making me too many friends. They're already talking about giving me another research position. It's not really a thing. Much as I dislike Hutchinson's setup, I'm a spook. I'm not a doctor. But apparently I can fake it well enough.
Fair. Good luck in there.
You too. Stay safe. And, yeah, have a good time. New York's gotta be a sight better than Vietnam as far as places to eat, right?
Oh. And we have a bit of a guide as well.
Ah, that's good. Someone who knows the area?
You know they'd set us up.
Yeah, they always do. Alright, Parvana. You stay safe. I'll, get in touch with you as soon as I can.
Goodbye.
Chase hangs up and sort of spins in his chair, and there's that big picture of Parvana headshot from the trip in Berlin in the background.
Oh,
my
no.
God.
Really?
Oh no.
He finally got his office. He's got
Yeah.
headshots all over the walls, actually.
His fucking. You mean his Parvana shrine?
No, not just Parvana. He got a lot of critical successes on pictures.
Yeah, he did.
He just has like a giant scrapbook of all the horrors they came across in Vietnam and in Germany.
Yeah, basically. Pictures of those graffiti art was probably in some significant education file now for someone.
Mm-hmm.
So she hangs up the receiver and then thinks and then picks it back up and then grabs it with both hands and tries to just yank it out, cord and all.
That's gonna be a strength check. There you go. You're gonna go ahead and tug that phone right out of there.
And she looks at it and then shrugs and then walks back to the and then starts to walk back to the restaurant.
Are you taking the destroyed phone with you?
Yes, she is.
Okay then.
Is she afraid that the words that she said are going to somehow stay on the line? Like, what the hell, man?
Give her some
Give-
credit. She's
give
not
him-
Darka.
Yeah, give him a chance. He'll. So you come back to the restaurant. What have y'all been doing? Well, actually, I think we already covered that.
Yep.
I'm not a clever man. But it doesn't look like anything exploded, and Ranger Manson has re-entered the room, kind of standing out of arm's reach of anybody, but no hand on his gun, just kind of on the other side of the room, watching things quietly.
Anderson's ordering more gnocchi.
Parvana walks back in, and she's got a phone in her hand.
Gwen looks at her and looks at the booze in her hand and frowns a little and looks back at her and then back at the booze in her hand and then back at Parvana. Why do you have a phone?
She looks at it. It's like, well, and then she just had to make a call.
Oh, wait a minute. Why didn't you leave it there?
Are cell phones a thing yet?
No,
No.
not even close.
80s, right. Never mind.
60s.
No, I thought they were in the 80s. No. I mean, like the
Oh,
that's when they were invented, right?
yeah, more or less.
She walks over to Manson and passes him the phone.
He would just kind of, he would take the phone and look at her with a raised eyebrow. Like,
And she shrugs her shoulders. I don't know how to check for bugs. If there's one in there, then they probably need to change the PO box.
oh, Manson kind of nods and says, okay,
Uh,
I'll,
I can take a look if you want.
you know much about electronics, Milo?
I did a bit of it in the army, and well, I do run a little bit of a risky business here. I've learned how to check for bugs.
Okay, fair enough. Be my guest. You probably know more than I do.
It's just the receiver, right? It's literally just like the phone end and the cord. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
didn't drag the whole payphone back. Okay, good.
No.
Parvana walks back into the restaurant with the phone booth in tow.
Yeah,
mean-
just dragging it behind her.
Let's be honest, that would be the best way to ensure that there's absolutely no bug. 'Cause
Yeah,
there
I
still
mean-
could be a bug.
And Gwen's like, I know where the bug is. It's still in that jar you sealed with the wax.
No,
Milo
the phone
unscrews
is
both
fine.
ends, and at least this part, there's nothing here. Kind of pulls some of the electrical components, puts them in his pocket, and throws the receiver itself away.
All right, well, where are we bedding down for the night? Because it's starting to get late.
We need to get out of here. I think we've inconvenienced the spaghettis enough, don't you think?
Agreed.
Anderson's starting to tap her foot. Guys, like, I really don't think we should stay here much longer. Like I said,
No, we need to get out of here. We got clean rides. Let's how do y'all feel about the Windsor? It's a nice hotel.
I'm tired. I got shot.
Also drunk.
No, I'm not. I'm fine.
Darby's method acting.
Alvar kind of puts a heavy hand on Gwen's shoulder and just kind of quietly and calmly pulls the bottle of booze out of her hand.
Wait. I was drinking that.
I think you've had enough, hon.
Well, let's go find some place to bed down.
Yeah,
Let me get some more
Mrs.
food.
Pachetti? Manson kind of clears his throat. Thank you very much for everything you've done tonight. You've been very kind.
Can I get some of this to go?
Aren't you still like tripping on hypersensitivity?
Yeah, which is why it tastes so fucking great.
It's true. That's exactly why it
Fair
tastes so
enough.
fucking good.
Fair enough, man.
God, did they even have like styrofoam? They would have a doggy bag. That's where
Yeah.
the phrase doggy bag. She would have gotten you a doggy bag with, your food.
That was the phrase from like the 20s, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. I know things sometimes.
Yeah. So you would get a doggy bag, and Vincent would say goodbye. Mrs. Pachetti would say goodbye. The vet would blink at you one eye at a time before heading back to his office to probably drink the rest of the night away. Um,
He's creepy.
and you guys would be able to depart. Well, at least step back out into the alleyway until you to figure out where you're going. But as you step out into the alleyway, Manson, who'd been quiet for a little bit, would kind of scratch at the underside of his chin. He says, normally I wouldn't want to waste company dollar, but Windsor sounds nice tonight. We can write it off.
Yeah, fuck him.
I'm
Elio-
fine with this.
Emilio puts $200 on the table. Walks away towards the thing. Company dime sounds good.
Yeah. All right.
She looks at Parvana would look at Emilio and then look at Manson and then give a head motion to the Pachettis and just be like, "Company's dime sounds very good."
So, what do we do with him? Emilio asked, pointing at the handcuff.
Oh shit, he's still there?
Unless he's wiggled away and Locust forgot to have
Nope.
check to pay attention.
No. Manson is would be getting him up out of the chair. Well, we can't just let him go. Somebody's gonna need to split a room with him.
Not it!
Parvana, fine.
All right. And then I'll drive his crappy car to the hotel. That way we can, we're not just leaving something here at the Pachetti's place. Which car do you want, Parvana? I mean, it doesn't really matter since, we'll have to go pick up everybody's ride tomorrow from the ranger station.
She just picks one.
Yep.
There's a red and a blue one.
Yep.
Card number 2.
Yep, you go ahead and...
She looks at Morpheus and picks the red one.
There's a big corgi griffin painted on the side.
I can't fucking handle the memes.
Well, the drive to the Windsor would be completely non-eventful. Nothing important happens whatsoever. Gwen kind of yells out at a pedestrian who stepped out in front of the car, but that's about it.
I really hope to Christ she's not driving.
Of course she is. She's drunk. Roll drive with a penalty dice.
No, where do I roll for Alvar wouldn't fucking let her?
I'm just kidding, hon. Of course you're not driving.
This is a nice new car. I'll take us. Don't worry.
But no, you would get to the Windsor with no problems. Manson would go ahead and basically get everybody a room, except Alvar and Gwen would be sharing a room, and Parvana and Lukowski would be sharing a room.
So could you say that again?
Everybody's getting their own room, except Alvar and Gwen are sharing a room, and Lukowski and Parvana are sharing a room.
Sucks for Parvana.
Yep, but she's the one who stepped up and offered. After checking everybody in, Manson would kind of grab Lukowski and lead him in through one of the side doors instead of the front. That way they're avoiding the big lobby where it's this handcuffed man. And you'd all be able to bed down for the night.
Except Emilio.
Except Emilio. Okay, what's Emilio doing?
After quote-unquote checking in, Emilio would go up to his room, and then he'd walk back down to the desk and be like, I'm sorry, is this some kind of a joke?
Sir, what's wrong? What's wrong with your room?
The sheets haven't been changed, the mini bar's empty, what is this? We just got here. Is this how you treat your guests?
Sir, I assure you that we treat our guests with the utmost respect here, but if there's an issue with your room, we can have you move to a different room if there's an issue with the cleanliness and state of the room.
Damn sure you will. We need a better room than this. Listen, you know, I've stayed here many a time. You know, I know there's better suites on this in this building. Why are we going for such a low level fare here?
Sir, I do hope you realize that if you if you want to be your room upgraded to a suite, it's going to cost more.
Is that the kind of customer loyalty you're expecting here?
Well, it's
How much
if you
money
could-
I've spent here? Do you know who I am?
No, sir, I'm afraid I do not.
You get your manager here.
The woman behind the register just sighs deeply. I can get him for you, sir.
Be a good choice.
And she kind of turns around and rolls her eyes once she's facing away from Emilio and heads off to find the manager. Time goes by and a man in a nice suit steps out. Hello, sir. I'm aware that there seems to be a problem with your room.
About friggin' time. Literally, walk up, you got lipstick on the glasses, you got sheets not changed. What is this? What happened here? Did management change? Did you all start going downhill or something?
No, sir. I'm sorry. I sure it must have just been a mistake on our part. Can I have you shifted up to one of our suites?
That would be much appreciated. I mean, I've been here probably 20, 30 times. You'd think Vincini would mean something around here.
Oh, Mr. Vincini. Okay. Yes, we'll have you here. Let's go ahead and move you to you'll be up one floor and you'll be in the suite. How's that sound?
That sounds a little better. Why don't you send some champagne up with that too?
Of course, sir.
Vincini waits for his new keys on the next floor up in the suite that you all are not in.
Oh God, I hate working customer service. This is giving me like a real life PTSD flashbacks. You would get your keys, you would get your champagne, and then you would be able to bed down for the night unless you wanted to complain about something else.
Nope. Vincini would get into a bubble bath with some champagne and probably start calling around the other rooms and see if anybody's awake.
Who's gonna answer the phone?
Anderson would answer the phone groggily. Hello?
Hey, have you tried the champagne here? It's really pretty good. Listen, I'm getting hungry again. How do you feel some ravioli?
Anderson immediately puts down the phone and goes
Hello?
back to bed.
Hello? Eh. And that would be about as far as he go.
Yeah. You complain your way to a better room. The only other thing that would happen that night is after Parvana got settled into the room with Lukowski, he would kind of sit down on the edge of one of the beds and just stare at her for a long moment before being like, why am I still in cuffs?
Because you brought a dangerous, unidentified object, or potentially dangerous, unidentified object that caused a considerable amount of havoc tonight.
I didn't even know I had it. Come on, Parvana, you know me. I wouldn't do something like this on purpose.
I know. I know. I know.
I'm here to help you guys. It was a mistake. I don't know what happened.
Tell me though. Just a bum deal.
Yeah, a bum deal. I went to this spot in Hanover. I thought I was gonna have a good time. Got I got a sheet of acid off this guy. He seemed like he knew what was on the up and up. He gave me what he said was a great price for this and handed it over. And then I get back to my room and there's nothing in it. And there was nothing in it the next day. And I don't know where that came from.
Can I roll psychology to kind of get a beat on him?
Absolutely.
Another point that's concerning is that he said he checked back again. Did the guy like tell him to look again? Why would he expect to see something once he's seen the bottle is empty?
Well, maybe you don't trust your own vision, you know? Like, I
He
do
was probably
stupid
high.
shit. That too.
Also, he's kind of, I mean, a little freaked out and trying to defend himself. This is a business where we've shot people before, okay?
Well, we've set them on fire with flare guns.
Well, you shot him too.
I think the flare
Anyways.
guns on fire is worse.
But she can't get a beat.
No, you cannot.
She can
Would
tell
you
that
like to
he's
try to push
upset.
that roll?
No, I don't see a whole lot of use for that.
Okay.
Who got you in contact with the dealer?
I met him. I was, like I said, I was at this spot in Hanover.
What
I was
spot
a-
in Hanover?
You can see him close his eyes, and there's a long pause as he thinks real hard. I don't know. I'd been to a couple of bars that night and had a few drinks. And this was like the third spot I was at, and it was one of those dance clubs. You know, with the bright lights and the it had good music. That's I can't remember it.
So someone you can't remember gave you an empty bottle that wasn't empty.
Well, no,
You're going. What?
I remember him. I didn't get his name. I didn't ask.
What do you look like?
A little taller than average, blonde hair. Look,
A little taller than average, blonde hair.
balding a bit. Looked older. Had a bunch of marks on his face, like he'd been in the war. Big guy. Real big. Real big round the middle, too.
Arvana is going to do her best to kind of commit that that description, however vague, to memory.
Okay. Sounds good.
Like, deal with the night in the cuffs. We'll get this all sorted out tomorrow.
Bukowski sighs heavily and opens his mouth as if to say something, but thinks better of it, closes his mouth, and just kind of falls backwards into the bed.
You know there's worse options in this business.
You got me there. And if you don't have any more questions for you, he'll leave you alone for the rest of the night.
She thinks for a moment. Why were you late today? Like that's I can guess, but that was even impressively late for you.
Because I didn't want to drive high.
Coming down.
I thought I had enough time to just have a relaxing afternoon. And when I started coming out of it, I realized that I might have shot up a little too late. And I didn't want to get into an accident.
I have a few things to prepare. I'll take it to the other room so that at least you can have some darkness to sleep with. But just one more thing. I'm just going to do a quick once over. Just brisk physical. Nothing bad. Take a few notes.
Of course.
And she's just going to do a quick look over and with the very deliberate intent to see if there are recent injection marks.
Since that's something simple and something very obvious, that's not going to require a roll. Yes, you can see. Actually, I am going to require a roll, real quick. Could be intelligence, could be medicine, but something. You know what you're looking for, but something related to that. Okay. At first glance, you think no, you don't see any recent injection sites because you check the obvious spots, his arms, and you check his arms and you find that the injections there have not they've healed over. Those are not recent injections at all. However, since you're going to do a full physical, you get the thought to actually take off his shoes. And while his feet are a little bit stinky, you do find recent track marks between his toes, as apparently the veins in his arms may have been damaged, and he has resorted to shooting up in the veins in his feet. It's drug addiction for you, Darby.
Goovers.
Yep. But they are, in fact, recent. You can tell, maybe not exactly how recent, but they fit his story.
And then she nods. We'll let him be, and then she's going to kind of put together a package of just the notes regarding the blood sample and the circumstances surrounding it.
Mm-hmm. Well, you'd be able to get that package all ready to go. Are you going to set that up in somebody else's room?
Let's see, there's what? How? Like, you know what? She's just going to do the classic use the bathroom.
Yeah, fair enough. All right. Does anybody else have any business they want to do before they get a good night's sleep?
Gwen is hugging the shit out of that dog and falling asleep on him. And the dog is not wholly on board with this, but it's happening.
Okay. Non-con snuggle time is happening.
Yeah.
What about that paperwork that we had started in the the spaghettis, but we got interrupted.
You mean for
The property?
cab company?
Yeah.
Manson would have taken that. He would have grabbed that and brought it with him.
Well, I mean, more specifically, getting the permits. Amelia was on the phone with contacts at the time.
That really hasn't gone anywhere. It hasn't gone forward, not yet. You guys were interrupted in the middle of it, and I mean, well, he's grabbed the paperwork. He doesn't have the same contacts that Milo has. And to be honest, he's probably gone into his room and passed out because he didn't pick up his phone when Milo called, and he's also not knocking on Milo's door.
What I'm asking is, could Milo be working on that before going to bed?
Oh, yes, absolutely. God, what is that going to be? Because I know that's technically your character background, but you're going to need to roll something for that to see how well that goes.
Intimidate?
Yeah, intimidate. Intimidate would be probably the best fit. There you go. So you can
He
get that
yells
all.
at people from a hot tub with a bubble bath.
Yeah. He's basically got that long corded phone and he's sitting in the hot tub in the bubble bath with a bottle of champagne, screaming at people on the phone to get the permits he needs.
Getting work done.
Absolutely. So you can have basically all of that done by morning.
Good. So we have a property of some sort?
Yep.
Okay, cool. I can go with that.
You would basically, I mean, money would need to change hands, but that's on the company, not on
Yeah.
you, so.
Other than that, that's all he tried to do. He isn't as exhausted as I think the rest of the group is. Carbs go a long way to fixing that.
That's true. Though it doesn't help when you drink the evening away.
As long as he doesn't pass out and then die in the tub, he should be okay.
Roll for not being an old man and passing out in the hot tub.
Constitution.
That would probably
No.
be Constitution. I don't know. It would be.
No. I'm not.
Dex.
Jesus Christ, no. The hot tub casts Breath of the Deep on you.
I mean, it's happened, man.
Breath of the bath bomb?
No, wait. The actual fixture casts Breath of the Deep. When has that happened?
People have drowned in hot tubs before.
Okay, sure.
fall
but
asleep
there's a
in it.
difference-
That's what happened, though. That's what happened to them, is they got Breath of the Deep cast on them.
Yeah, you just didn't know.
It's true.
You think they
I've
report
heard this
that
on
in the
Forensic Files.
mainstream media, please?
Oh my god.
Oh, and no, look.
You gonna tell me that hot tubs aren't magical?
Yeah, there was a whole movie about that.
Yeah, have you seen Hot Tub Time Machine?
Yeah, they're
Anyways,
basically portals. to Cthulhu.
Anderson, it's going to be really hard for you to get to sleep. Because in the room across the hall from you, a geriatric couple has gotten away from their family for the evening, and they're going at it like it's 1920 again.
Let me roll for
They
sanity.
do occasionally have to stop and get some of that dime store lube on her since she's as dried up as can be.
All right. We
my
are.
God.
I have rolled for sanity. I have failed. Is this what you wanted?
Hey, you challenged me. How could I make things worse? I think I won.
Yeah, I'll listen to that description and we're banned from Twitch.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
See, it was
Anyways.
either a 50-50 shot of him explaining that or explaining in visceral detail someone taking a wicked dump.
Yep. Anyways, you have trouble getting a restful night's sleep. However, partway through the night, you would start coming down from the drugs, and almost as the sun starts to rise, you can actually get a couple of good hours of sleep, but you are not going to be well rested tomorrow.
Cool.
Who's going to be the first one up?
Definitely not Gwen.
Probably actually Anderson. If she didn't sleep well, then she's probably like gonna have a fairly light sleep anyway. So the sound of people moving around in the hotel in the morning will be the thing to wake her up.
Parvana has a package to mail.
Yep.
Emilio
Sure,
has
Alvar
a
would be
free
up just
continental
fine.
breakfast to eat.
And actually, Emilio would be joined by Ranger Manson for that, who looks a little bit better after a good night's sleep. Parvana?
Yes.
I mean, really, mailing a package isn't going to be that big of a deal. I'm actually pretty certain some of the hotels you could do that right out of the hotel.
Yeah, it wouldn't be that hard.
Yep.
Yeah. So you can get that package on the way, no problem. Anderson, what are you going to do when you get up?
Probably wake up and take a shower.
Okay. Well, while you're taking a shower, a groggy but less bedraggled version of Ranger Mance would come down into the big dining room and sit across from Milo. He'd grab a glass and pour some water from a pitcher that'd been sitting on the table and have a drink before just saying, "Morning."
I do have a question. Can I have the shower time count as sanity recovery time?
What's your sanity recovery things again?
I believe it's a place of quiet contemplation.
Yeah, okay. You can recover sanity.
How do I do that again?
You roll sanity. You do not recover sanity.
Fuck.
All right.
It was a loud shower. The geriatric couple was still getting it on in the background.
There you go.
Oh no.
Anyways, Ranger Manson kind of looks up after taking another drink from his glass of water at Emilio. I know we were interrupted last night, but are you gonna be able to get that the permits that we talked about done today?
Already done.
Wow,
Got you a location as well. Owner was, well, considering retirement, and we just sweetened the pot. Business already exists. All you gotta do is move in. Staff is pretty easy to lay off.
Yep, and we can fill it with our own folks. All right, sounds good. Did you set up a time and place to sign over the paperwork and cut the guy a check?
Yeah, in a way.
Oh,
He's willing to wait as long as it takes. You just, make sure it's good. Place old, out in the corner, 2 garage doors, old fallout shelter down below the basement. Pretty nice little place.
that actually sounds perfect. A fallout shelter?
Yeah, left over. It's not in the greatest repair, but it's pretty deep down there. Solid concrete all around.
Oh, you do really good work. Ugh. Well, when Parvana gets up, we'll have a conversation with her about how to progress forward. Still quite a lot to do. Because we're going to need to set up other locations for personnel, people moving through, taking their time, coming from out of the country, they need a place to crash.
Yeah, you didn't really provide much input on the name, so when we signed the papers, it's just Eastern Cab Company.
That's fine. We don't need
Yeah.
that's plain enough that nobody's gonna suspect it. That works.
Yeah, you're gonna need to probably come up with a good cover for whoever owns the actual business.
That'll be easy.
Good, because those parts I can't fake.
No, of course not. But there's a few people we've got working for us who, well, we've got volunteers that contribute indirectly. And we can bring one of them and have him run the business. I'm sure we've got somebody who has a little bit of experience running a cab company or something similar enough.
I thought your doctor lady had some experience with that.
Right, but she's not going to be permanent staff here.
Oh, all right. Well, hey, whatever floats
She's
your
helping
boat.
us set. Well, she's helping us set it up. Unless she wants to stay, which, considering how things have been going, I think a cab company might almost be a vacation from this job.
So, are we to expect another day like yesterday? Really hate to have to light off a few Molotov cocktails in a place nice as this.
Well, from personal experience, and Anderson looks around and kind of idly picks.
Anderson.
No, Manson. Sorry, wrong name. Manson kind of looks around and kind of scratches at
Manderson.
the back of his hand. Oh, it is Manderson.
It's the gender bend.
Yeah. Looks around, scratches the back of his hand. I don't have all the answers when it comes to things like this, but for the most part, they try to, as far as I've known, avoid just doing things with so many eyes watching. They're a little more discreet.
I mean, listen, I understand. The Shadows is a nice place. It's comfortable. It's warm there, but this goes a little beyond that. You've been attacked pretty much, what, twice directly now? The last 24 hours? And now that druggy lady says the guy knows where we are? Listen, I mean, Mother Mary protect me. I don't know all about what you all know about, but, I've seen my fair share of strange things, and, I'm not afraid to help the government. My father cut his teeth protecting the Normandy during World War One. Y'all couldn't have kept that place safe if it weren't for my family. But are we always gonna be fighting back the darkness like this? I'm good at cabs, and I can throw a mean right hook, but I don't know the first thing about banishing demons. My mama, she was good at that. We actually knew a little bit about that, but we always kind of dismissed her as crazy back in the days. Pneumonia does weird things to the brain sometimes.
Yeah.
She just woke up from a night sweat and used to shout about the things she could see in the darkness, but she was 80, 85. Just assumed it was dementia taking her.
I mean, did she write any of this down? Was there any logic or thought to it, or was it just...
Barely spoke English.
Yeah. Well, I can say that for the most part, hopefully next time we'll be more prepared. Yesterday was a colossal... And Manson kind of, just shakes his head instead of finishing that sentence, since more or less they are in polite company. But while some of these things may take us by surprise, it's usually our job to organize and, well, fight back. So, hopefully, next time one of these things comes knocking, we'll be ready.
I hope so. I don't know how much help I'm gonna be. I'm mostly here for the paperwork.
Well, you did a fantastic job when we came hand to hand with that thing in the woods.
Yeah, but I don't like getting my hands dirty. Listen,
don't
even when I was
blame
in
you.
the military, my background was not in hand to hand. I'm a big guy. I got some weight behind me, but my background was in demolitions. That's what I knew. I had to use a little bit of that knowledge now and then, but you know, blood doesn't make business move faster. Maybe that's why I've stayed in the position I am in, and maybe that's why those young Turks tried to take me out, but see, I've never seen the advantage in killing folks that might be of use later.
I can agree with that.
Now I've done what I had to do to protect the code, but I've never understood that mentality. This whole us versus them, even within my family. You know, you do anything for family, but you know, we got such this thought process that if you're not part of us, that you're immediately an enemy, and that's not how it is. I mean, that's just not practical. I mean, you want to treat everyone as if there's some way to make money? Hey, you know, it's your business. You run your business well, you help people, that's how it is. But, you know, Virgin Mary protect us, we don't need to be laying the streets red with blood. I mean, this cab company I got you, you're not going to be starting turf wars on 45th, right?
Oh, hell no. Hell no. Honestly, we want to lay low as much as possible. We don't want anybody paying attention, so we're going to start. I mean, hell, we're going to. The last thing we want is eyes from you, from police, from anyone.
Alright, good. Good. I was worried there after yesterday. I mean, I don't care about drugs. Y'all want to shoot up whatever you want, that's up to you. And I get there are threats out there. I understand that. I've seen a few. I've moved some of those items that you all are so curious about, and let me tell you, they freak me out. They're spooky, strange. But we don't need more violence on our streets. New York's a tough enough city as is.
And like I said, I agree with you when you say you don't want blood filling the streets, that the us against them mentality. Nah, I'm right there with you. The one exception, though, to that is when we're dealing with these kind of these things that they're not people. When it's people, yeah, give them the benefit of the doubt. I mean, it's better to try to make a friend out of an enemy than to just kill them. Sure, these things ain't people. These things ain't act like people, and ugh.
Well, yeah, I get that, but I just don't want open gunfire on the streets, kind of a thing. But anyway,
No.
let's eat. This fruit's gonna go bad.
Yeah, you're right. Absolutely. And they would have a nice, pleasant breakfast. What does anybody else want to get anything done in the morning?
Not that I can think of.
Eventually, Gwen would like to accomplish the whole getting out of bed thing.
Well, absolutely. Oh God. Excuse me while I just die in my chair. Don't mind me. Well, it's getting close to 11:30, and I really don't have anything for you that we can do in 10 minutes. So I think let's go ahead and call that for now.
Okay.
It's a little bit early, but any of the other stuff we really get into is going to be much longer. So, thank you everybody who tuned in. Thank you everybody who showed up. I hope you have a lovely evening, and I hope you tune in this Sunday for 13th Age.
Yeah, and
Voices in the Wilderness.
Yes, Voices in the Wilderness.
all right. See ya all down.
Yep. Goodbye.